Hi guys, here's revision 9, example 9 of our little Seamus progression, tutorial, whatever you want to call it. So previously we talked about implementing maps or rooms. We've already got a map library which has the various functions for dealing with low-level map things like doing collisions and those kind of things, which aren't implemented at the moment, but they will be. So we've got a room library which implements all of the higher level stuff. So we have things about spawning points, which is not implemented at the moment, but the actual map, the room data itself. The Fraser is based on the sprite Fraser in the graphics library. Let's have a quick pick through it. So we've got a bit of an API we've built up here. We've got sort of high level functions we're using to check. We can check if a room exists. We can delete all rooms. Kind of similar sort of PB syntax for our little library, even though library is used for making our game. A delete room function, and the load room pack function, which runs through and loads all of the rooms. Now the rooms are stored like this. Bit of a reminder. These are our instructions for, or these are our functions for the rendering of the room itself. We also have attributes as well. So let's take a look at this room here. This is the first room, or the one you've seen before anyway. We've got an attribute here telling us this is room 0. We've given the rooms a name, even though they're not actually displayed in the game itself. Between the map render blocks is the actual script for rendering the room. As we said before, we've got a series of these instructions, and in this case we've got, so CLS has a tile and a color. So we use the blank tile and we make sure the color is black. We set the horizontal line color to yellow, set the vertical line color to cyan, and we draw a horizontal line of this block, this tile by name, of course, vertical lines, etc. So internally it just stores them. If we have a sort of pick through, find that bit of code. Right, so when we're phrasing our room, we find a map render component. We find the end of it, just make sure it has got a closing section. We jump to here, and we pretty much just grab the text at the front. We assume that the piece of code, or this instruction here, has this syntax. It has a pair of brackets around the parameters, and whatever's on the left of the parameter is the command that we want to call. So back here, we've just gone. We find the first comma. If it was found, we go okay. We grab the opcode name. We're just to the left of that comma. Sorry, that bracket. Then our params are whatever's on the right of it. Here we just trim off these brackets if they do exist. So once we have that, we have a list of the parameter data. This material here, depending on which line we're looking at. Let's say we're phrasing this line here. So we would have, in our params list, we have this text. Then we split this text into separate fields by using the split to array command. And we split based on the comma. That's what we're doing here. Now, since we have a command name, and we're storing these things in separate structures, so this opcode array is a base type, and all of these types here are inherited from that. So we can store them all in this one array, even though they're different structures. So if it's a CLS, we go okay. Let's initialize this structure at this position within the array of this type, and then to initialize, to actually work out what the parameters do, we drop down here and we call function by name. So we've got a private function of private map render init, and this will be the opcode will be CLS. So there'll be a function down here called private map render init CLS, and there it is. So the call function will call this, passes the material in, and we just do any work we need to do for the parameters. In this case, we're just grabbing the fields and putting them into here. But maybe you want to have, in this case, we're doing some conversions of the parameters here, so we have a little bit of complexity building up there. But it kind of means that to add new commands, we just drop a new select statement in here and add its decoder at the bottom. At the end of this little process here, we end up with an opcode, an array called opcodes, which has all of our little instructions to redraw this shape on screen, wherever it happens to be. So draw a level, we've got a render version of that. Where are we? Yeah, render map. So we give it a room index to make. It checks if the room is legal. If it is, we grab a pointer to the room, save ourselves a bit of typing. Because the opcodes array is stored as an array handler, not a nested array, we're going to do a bit of messing around here to get to the data. We're going to declare we're going to make an array that we've called opcodes, and it's of this type, which is the base object type that all of the fields are declared, all the opcodes are declared as, such as CLS and Hline and VLine, etc. We grab our handle and we seed it into this array. So this opcodes now is a regular array. Declared some pointers here so we can access the fields. And we set our default Hline and VLine colors, and we move through the array, check if it exists. If it does, we grab a pointer to this data. We use the type of here, which gives you the type index, and we just pick which type we want to react to. So if it's a CLS, we set up our pointer. We find in this case here, we're finding the backdrop color by name, returning a color index, and calling the actual low-level function to clear the screen. Bit of messing around, but a very flexible approach. Let's check it out anyway. I know it's kind of a very impromptu run through. So you've seen this screen before. Nothing new here. If I hit F6, we move to the next room. I've only defined 2 rooms, by the way, so don't get too excited. There we have it. So anytime I change rooms, in this case here, it's just reloading all the levels. And I've added a bit of a pause to, so it works pretty quickly. There's no detriment to doing it the way we're doing it. Let's take one last look at the level data again. So this is room 0, has a name. That's the render block down to here. The T-shaped room, which is what we're just looking at, is this one. So it's going to be room 1, given a name of T-shaped hallway. And to render it, we've got a CLS statement at the start. We're setting our Hline and VLine colors, and then we're just drawing the lines. Pretty simple. Okay, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.